Whenever anybody asks about some easy frames to take to level cap, there's always some easy answers, like Revenant or anything that goes invisible, like Wisp or Ashe or Loki, or you could just throw like your Cydo 9 evade subsume onto whatever you want and just do big damage with your weapons and things. What nobody talks about though is probably the best frame in the game, Nidus. This is the S tier of survivability. He cannot die, and people just don't talk about him enough. He does an infinite amount of damage, he scales forever, he'll never die, and he's the perfect frame to bring to level cap. The big complaint that people have whenever they are asked about Nidus and bringing him to level cap is that it's really hard for people to keep their stacks up at 100% for the entire mission. Luckily though, Nidus has an inbuilt solution to this via an augment, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So just going over his kit really fast, his first ability, as we all know, is Virulence. He puts forward like a pillar of like infestation, and he gets stacks, and when you have 15 of these stacks, you will avoid death. Whenever you hit 0 HP, you'll get your HP back to like 50%, and you'll have like 5 seconds of invincibility. Straight up invincibility, unconditional, except that you have to die, quote unquote, and have 15 stacks. Next is Larva. This is a good grouping ability. You can group things up and hit them with Virulence. Virulence will also refund energy the more things that you hit, so you can spam this really, really hard into walls usually because you don't want to waste the cooldown waiting for it to like go out all the way. Next up, we subsume off his third ability specifically for this like application level cap because it's just a damage reduction, or it's a power strength increase, or it's based on the augment mod. If you're using it, it's going to be an HP increase, which isn't really helping us at level cap. So what we do here is we put Nourish so we can spam his Virulence even harder and get a better energy refund off of it because we're running negative efficiency. Next is Ravenous, where we have a field, an area that like heals you for HP, which is not so important, but what is really cool is the Insatiable Augment, which gives you a chance, scaling with strength, to get extra mutation stacks off of like Virulence or your not parasitic link, your larva, if you kill enemies in your like larva. So this helps you stack really, really fast. People underestimate how fast this goes, but this is like really easy to stack this way. Now the build is pretty straightforward. The only two things that you really need are, or actually only one thing that you really need is Insatiable, which helps you maintain your stacks at basically 100% really fast. The ramp up time is very quick, and the maintenance is very easy as long as you're sitting inside of your little field of Ravenous. Rolling Guard, of course, for survivability, Multi-Augmented for some extra power strength, Blind Rage for strength, Precision Intensify so that we can scale up the success chance of Insatiable specifically. You could get more strength on these things, but really at a certain point you're not going to be killing much with them. You're using it for survivability. If you do get like Armor Strip going with like a primer, or if you bring Corrosive Shards and you throw on like Archon Continuity instead of like Stretch or whatever, or Augur Secrets, you can actually kill things at level cap with him. It's just that usually you don't want to be killing things with him because you want more enemies to stack up your mutation stacks more often. So killing things with Virulence tends to be counterproductive eventually at a certain point. Prime Sure-Footed can be anything. Stretch also could be anything. Could be Archon Stretch if you really wanted to, though it's kind of a waste, I feel. Prime Flow, Precision Intensify, as I talked about. And Larva Burst is another augment. You can swap this out for another augment. He has one that gets primary critical chance as long as you hit 4 enemies with Virulence, which is also a good one. This is just so we can recast Larva whenever we want to. That's the only reason. The toxin damage doesn't really do much. Or you could bring the toxin damage and pair it with Archon Continuity to get that corrosive off of your abilities. In terms of the loadout, you can bring your favorite weapons. He works with anything. He's basically a survivability platform, first and foremost, in my opinion. You can bring like Scourge Dual Toxicist. You can bring a Primer and a Zaw. You can bring the Falcor and just kill everything with the Falcor if you really wanted to. Or you could go for like a full DPS Virulence build if you're willing to kind of take on the risk that you will run out of enemies to stack off your mutation stacks. So just bring whatever works. Any meta level cap weapon is perfectly fine. Furus, etc. For companion, Dorigo works fine. You can bring Panzer Profiler for viral priming, etc. But you have Nourish already, so not necessary. Just whatever you want. And yeah, that's it. That's Nidus, the strongest frame in the game. The best frame to bring to level cap. S tier. This is S tier at the top of every tier list from now and forever. we all know Nidus is the best, and you should always use him, and if you haven't used him at level cap yet, you should try it. Alright, thanks for watching guys, see you next time.